So President Trump has been talking about a shift of focus in some ways in the Iran strategy, putting a lot of emphasis on economic pressure over military strikes at the moment, although he has said that military strikes are always at the ready. So he's now demanding compensation from the regime because this has been one of their tactics of saying that they need to have any damage paid for after the attacks that have been against Iran since February 28th. Watch.
We're going to ask for money for the damage they've done over a 50-year period. Whether you go SS Cole or whether you go all of the people that were so badly hurt, so badly wounded or killed, many thousands of people, and maybe damages for the 52,000 protesters over the last 4 months that were killed in Iran. If there's damages to be paid, I think Iran should pay those damages.
Joining us now, Miad Maleki, Senior Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Great to have you with us today. Thank you for joining us. What do you think about what the president had to say there?
Well, thanks for having me. I think President Trump, as you said it very nicely, is turning the regime's own negotiation tactic, flipping it back on the regime. And it's a very smart way to negotiate with this regime. Listen, every U.S. president except President Trump showed the Iranian regime some level of flexibility to try to get a deal with them, give them sanctions relief, pausing sanctions, giving them relief to show a sign of goodwill to get a deal with them. But they all kind of misunderstood the nature of this regime. And I think President Trump is, in a very smart and creative way, is negotiating the same exact way they would negotiate with us. Right now, I think they're in the weakest spot they've ever been since 1979. So now is the right time to negotiate. If you want to negotiate with them, this is how you would negotiate with them. On the compensation front, listen, there are thousands of Americans who have lost lives to this regime in Iraq, in Afghanistan, elsewhere, but also folks like Bob Levinson. Let's not forget about folks who were kidnapped and killed by the Iranian regime, former FBI agent who was kidnapped in 2007 and possibly killed by the Iranian government. And you also have the Iranian Americans who were kidnapped and held in Iran for years, and Iranians themselves who were being held hostage by this regime for now 47 years.
Yeah, and all of the deaths through proxies in Beirut and other places. So you're saying that you think that at this moment their economy is so weak that they might come to the table. And I want to just put up a couple of things here. This is Iran's estimated oil exports, which have plummeted. 65,000 barrels a day in May was the lowest, and they used to do about 2.12 million a day before the war. Now, they've been probably getting a lot of Chinese business on the side and working out getting oil to China through other routes potentially. The misery index is another interesting way of looking at this, and this is inflation essentially and currency and how much economic pain is on the people of Iran. But a lot of analysts say, and I want to get your analysis here, that the regime and the IRGC do not care about the economic pain of the Iranian people, and what they want is to hold the straight.
Well, what they care about the most is the regime's survival. And listen, the regime has always come to negotiate over the economy, the state of economy, looking for off-ramp or some kind of a short-term relief so they can continue to hold, to control this, to control Iran and keeping the world hostage or blackmailing the international community with their nuclear program. And they've lost all of that. They don't have a nuclear program that they can blackmail the world with. They're losing the control over the Strait of Hormuz. We see oil shipments making it out of the Strait of Hormuz. And most importantly, they're so diplomatic isolated that those jurisdictions in the Gulf and elsewhere that they were relying on to bypass U.S. sanctions are now turned against the Iranian regime because of their decisions to target Emiratis. UAE, they receive more of the Iranian missiles and drones than Israel. And UAE is where Iranians were exploiting their financial system to bypass U.S. sanctions and survive. They don't have those opportunities anymore. So they've been cornered more than any time before. And they're really facing this internal dilemma and problem because they have radicalized 10 to 15% of this population that are supporters. kind of over-promising a major win against the U.S. and Israel, and now they've left cornered, and they have nothing to lose at this point. So they're going to continue to drag their feet. But President Trump is right to